My God, this girl's got to plug herself.
Wait, what? Plug myself?
I don't know why I did that fart noise. I don't
You
know.
said plug yourself and then you did a fart noise.
You
hell is
know,
that
that's
about?
part of my weirdness. I don't even can blame that on ADHD. I don't know.
That's funny.
It's like nervous laughter, but it's nervous noises, and I do it in class too. This poor special needs kids, and the teacher's not looking. I'll be like, "Hey, no, I'm kidding."
Miss Wendy.
I'll blame it on those kids
That's
too.
right.
It wasn't
You did it.
me.
It wasn't
No, I wouldn't do that. We have fun though. They're good kids.
Hi. Welcome back to
Grandma's not right.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, Grandma's not right. Nope, not at all. I'm a grandma. She's a grandma.
I'm a grandma.
The dog's coughing up something. I don't know what. Oh, are you done yet?
Come on, man.
Are you done?
Look at his eyes. He
He's
looks like
just
he's
staring
looking
at
at you like this.
You know, like what? Give me side eye, you creepy dog.
Bobby Brown.
All right. So anyway, here we are again.
Hello.
We're glad to have you back. And if it's your first time, I'm Cheryl,
I'm Wendy.
and we're sisters, and we're
BFFs.
just here to kind of blow off steam and invite you into our lives.
Right.
And if you like it, okay. If you don't, all right, bye bye. You know,
Well,
whatever.
I was saying earlier too that it's been 20 years. Like our kid says, yeah, your grandma did some podcast. What? I said it'd be cool.
Hey, there's this place called YouTube we used to go on.
Oh
all the
my
time. I
gosh,
think
who
it's still
knows?
out there.
Hey,
Your grandma's
it's
on there.
been
Let's
around.
go check it out. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think
It's fun.
we're doing this just for that too.
Yeah.
And you know what? Again,
Leaving a little bit of ourselves behind.
yeah,
I guess,
we just have a good time talking, and
We're full of ourselves.
We're
and
totally full of
hams.
ourselves.
So, this is our moment to be on stage for the one person that might watch it.
one person. Woohoo! I don't care. Oh, wow.
I don't know what that was.
I don't like it.
You didn't like
Don't.
that one? Okay.
There's dolls, and there's that move you did just right there. That's it. Don't ever do that again.
Okay. I won't. Anyway.
So what are we talking about this week, Cheryl?
Well, let's see. We're going to talk a little bit about supernatural magic, woo-woo stuff. Okay. Yeah. So we'll get into that. But first, how was your week?
Well, my week was good. I can't complain. I got a good life, and I don't. My only thing is people that I'm around. I gotta be careful because my works have been published. No, my jobs are pretty specific, and anybody who would follow this would know. I'm just gonna say, in my life, because I have relatives and people that I've been around that are like this, just real sad sacks. I've had people say, "Oh, you're always so upbeat." I said, "That's the humor masking all of my problems." I learned a long time ago. Someone goes, "Hey, how you doing?" Well, I got this bad back. I just remember. I don't know if it was through The Secret or what I learned this from. That when someone asks you how you're doing, I'm fine. How are you doing? You don't need to go into your fucking fucked up life.
Right.
I've been through divorces and my kids, special needs kids, and financial problems and all kinds of stuff. It's like I have told, and people know, they're like, "Oh, that's really you don't talk about that stuff." No, there are some people that I have talked to that shit with at length. To where people are like, why are you talking about, sorry, my earrings bother me. Why are you talking about that so much? Because it's on your mind. You got to get it out. You're expelling it. And it's just a form, I just want to get it out. But people that just, they're making their own choices. They've manifested stuff in their lives, whether it's their shitty marriage or their shitty job or whatever, or they've gotten into a financial mess or their body's a mess, whatever's going on. It's always negative. Like, "Hey, how you doing?" And they go, "Oh, well, I hate that." and it just brings you down. And I'm like, I am not going to be that person. So I always try to be like, hey, I'm doing great. I could be having the shittiest day and my life's falling apart, but I'm doing great, because you don't need to be brought down, because I don't like when people do that to me. Now, if I'm having a legit problem, I'm going to tell somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
Pick up the phone, call each
Yeah.
other, or you know.
But yeah, just, again, I don't want to tell any specific stories because people will know who they are, but just, you know, whether it's they're complaining about whatever, and it's, we've been through the whole, we talk about The Secret a lot, but we're not into it. Like, we were into it, but then when a lot of it, we thought, you know, you take what you need, just like Tony Robbins. He's got a lot of great stuff, but some of it I go, no, dude, that's not for me. I'll cherry pick everything. I'll take a little bit of your shit, a little bit of your shit.
Yeah.
You know, religion has some stuff to offer that I appreciate, you know, but it's just, I don't know. I thought it's not a toxic situation for me. It's not hurting me that these people are doing it. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
It makes me genuinely sad. It's not hurting me, but it is kind of like that, I don't know, minor irritation and the sadness as a human being. You want to help them, but it's like, dude, you fucking got to help yourself.
Now there is legitimate mental health disorder, you know, a
Of
mental
course.
health issue where
I have.
you have, you know, depression or,
Yes.
you know, obviously that's a little different. We're just talking
Yeah.
about people whose life is centered around drama.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And it's
Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
They're addicted to that drama. And I've been there. I
Yeah.
mean, I think we both have been there.
Oh,
To where, you know,
our business, our poor kids heard us from the time they were born. Well, not all of them, but mine and your other two.
Yeah.
Well, one. Jason didn't give a shit what we talked about.
Nope.
Clearly. But no, the kids, but yours were young enough
Yeah.
when we started hanging out in the 80s
Yeah.
that they heard us talking about, you know, gym parents, when you worked at the Y employees,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, higher ups, city managers, or students, everything they heard. And then financial, we knew they could hear us, but I don't think we really thought that they were paying attention.
didn't
They're all
think they were
fucking around in
paying
the back of the
attention.
van or whatever, but they did.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, you're putting that out there,
Yeah.
and we know the power of that.
And now we know. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. We learned later that we wallowing in that mire of sadness and frustration and poor me,
You're manifesting more of
justified
that.
or not, you're attracting more of that
Yeah.
into your life.
Yeah.
And you know what? I fight every day against that
Mm-hmm.
for myself. I shouldn't say fight against it. I try to navigate through it every day
Yeah.
and try to and I have weeks where I really can't manage to stay out of it. I mean, it's like it just comes in waves, and
It's easier to spiral and then try. It's hard to climb back out of it.
is.
Yeah.
But being aware of it, I think, is a good thing. So your week was about kind of recognizing that other people were.
And it's like
having
one
drama.
person, you know, when someone talks about somebody else, I'm like, dude, I try to stay so
Yeah.
neutral, but you know, and this is at both my job. Both my jobs have this.
People talking about
Where-
each other.
And you know, some people
Trying to stay out of it.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, I like how you try to see the good in everybody, and I'm like, yeah, it's not easy because some of you are a little hypocritical, and you'll talk about somebody's doing a piss poor job. Then I turn around and I go, well, as a former boss of employees myself, I'm like, yeah, you're not,
not perfect
doing it.
either,
And
yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm not, you know, I mean, I think I have a strong work ethic, and yeah, I try to pick out the best. But if you cross me,
Mm-hmm.
and I had said this earlier, if there are 5 people working in a situation, and I don't like what that one person's doing, I'm not going to go to the other 4 and tell them what that I don't like what this person's doing. Shit, I just don't say anything. I do my job. But if 1, 2, 3, and 4 come and talk to me about that 5th person, then I'm like, okay, all bets are off. And also, if you accuse me of something I'm not doing, or I see you doing something you shouldn't do and getting in an uproar, I will go to bat for that person, and then I will be a total bitch about it, and I will get angry about it. But I'm not, and generally like that, I try to keep upbeat and everybody happy. But you cross me, and yeah, it's like we said, the Gemini. I think someone commented about being a Gemini.
And
because
they
I
can
think that's what I
relate.
meant.
Yeah.
That I'll be nice to you 1 minute and I'll cut you the next. You know,
Yeah.
like because
I'm gonna cut
I gotta catch up. But yeah, and it's not in a mean way. I'm not trying to be a
Yeah.
bad person. It's just you can only take so much, and but I think if you generally try to be an upbeat and happy person, that the people around you will think. And I have had people say, you know what, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
wow, you really changed my mind. And it's like, I'm not trying to change your mind about political stuff or beliefs or anything. It's just about well, that person, you know, maybe they're going through something. They're like, yeah, I didn't think of that before.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing. I'm trying to be like a, you know, mediator sometimes between people. And then online, I'll just say one more thing. Online, just people that you've either you know or even if you just follow, but people that will post stuff like, I don't care if it's a scripture quote or a Tony Robbins quote or a Rhonda Byrne, The Secret quote about, oh, live your life this way. And then you turn around and they're talking about, yeah, my job this or my family that or it's something like the world turned upside down and then they're all down, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they want you to live your life. Well, putting that out on Facebook or whatever for everybody to see, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
Are you looking for sympathy? And I admit I got hurt really bad a while back and I towed the line. I got told that I was putting stuff out there that was not good. My kids shouldn't see it or whatever. And I'm like, I was really hurt and I tried not to be that person. And I really towed the line, but I was out of my mind at that point. But, you know, I did dial it back and I don't air my dirty shit.
Yeah.
Except the cakes at the store that were not buttercream. I have a problem. You're going to tell me it's buttercream and it's fucking whipped cream ice cream?
Well, I can't help myself
Icing? Fuck it.
when it comes to
Yes.
just things that are going on in the world.
Well,
I know I get on my soapbox.
Fast Fingers Malone.
Can't help myself. I try. I go for a spell and then I fall off the wagon of restraining my. But so yeah, my week. I had a good art show. I had an art show.
Oh yeah, the art show.
In Palm Springs, and that was pretty cool. So I have another one coming up in March that I'm really excited about. So I'll talk about that later, but
Okay.
down the road. So yeah, that's fun. I at least am not losing money.
Well-
I mean, I'm not making a bunch of money, but at least I'm not losing money because
Yeah.
I pay to get into the,
Right.
to be a vendor, and I'm selling enough to at least pay the fee,
that's
and
great.
then a little bit extra.
That's great.
That covers
what
gas.
Did you, what
So,
did you sell? What did you sell this past weekend?
I had I sold a lot of prints,
Oh,
of prints,
good.
and I sold one original,
But what were they of? Like
the Raven.
oh,
The original
Raven.
of the Raven. That somebody wanted that. It was another artist actually that was there that said,
Aw,
I keep looking at
sis.
that and I just have to have it. So I was like, okay, cool. Another artist bought my work. That makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, and a lot of people really, I think somebody bought a calendar too.
Okay.
So yeah.
I love my calendar. Spirit
So,
Animal.
yeah.
Check it out on YouTube. Cheryl Hunter Fine Art or Cheryl.
CherylAnnHunter.com. You can order
Put it up here.
anything
Cheryl
there.
Ann Hunter. She's got to plug herself. We're going to start
But
doing that in
anyway.
the end. We're going to start doing that in the end because I know a lot of podcasts do that.
Oh,
And by God, this girl's got to plug herself.
we plug myself.
I don't know why I did that fart noise. I
You,
don't
you
know.
said plug yourself and then you did a fart noise.
You
hell is
know,
that
that's
about?
part of my weirdness. I don't even can blame that on ADHD. I don't know.
That's funny.
It's like nervous laughter, but it's nervous noises, and I do it in class too. This poor special needs kids, and the teacher's not looking. I'll be like, "Hey, no, I'm kidding."
Miss Wendy.
I'll blame it on those kids
That's
too.
right.
It wasn't
You did it.
me.
It wasn't
No, I wouldn't do that. We have fun though. They're good kids.
But Mike and I had, my husband Mike and I had a interesting conversation about we have such a interesting link. He'll be thinking about something, and I know a lot of couples that have been together for a long time this
Yeah,
happens to, but he'll be
I've
thinking
had
about
that too.
something and
Text you and you text at the same time.
yeah,
or
or he'll tell me something and all have been thinking about the same thing for dinner or what. I'm just silly things like that all the time, right? But one of the weird things that happens to us often is he'll wake up and tell me about a dream, and I would have a dream that had a similar subject matter or a similar thing happen. That's happened a couple times. So
There's got to be something to that. That mother lover always seems to call when we're together. Now, I could chalk it up to it's just
when we're talking about him.
But when we're talking about him, sure, he doesn't have your phone like text. He doesn't know how to do that.
No, he doesn't. He can hardly work his own phone. Sorry, sweetie.
Oh, snap. No. But that's great.
I just and it really we've always believed that there's more to our brains. We've always believed
there's some electrical activity that we already know that all goes on. That's how we get somebody back to life, by pumping them full of fucking electricity. Well, why is it so hard to believe that you can't see electricity in the air, but you know it's there?
Yeah.
So why is it so hard to believe that people can be like a Tesla bulb?
Right.
Beep, beep, beep,
and there's been way too many experiments that have proved that there is a connection. And I think that most people have experienced odd connections.
Well, look at twins. My God.
Yeah.
How many stories have you heard about
adopted
twins?
ones that are raised in completely
and
different,
have similar names?
Yeah, and they enjoy the same things. So it's,
of course, I know people would say, "Oh, that's just genetic. As a genetic code
Possibly.
that they have." Okay, that's still cool in itself. I love twins. I love studying about twins. But I get what you're saying, though.
And I feel like, okay, if people believe in the power of prayer, now, of course, people who believe in the power of prayer, they believe that you have this direct communication to God, and that God's going to send some help or whatever.
You're like the conduit.
Yeah. But I feel like if that is possible, in people's minds, then you stretch that a little more, and our brains are built as receivers.
Yeah.
If our brains are built as receivers, and we can receive and send signals.
See, that's what
then.
This is why, and again, Harry Potter nerd, I always try to fit into a conversation. No, that they're so upset about books like Harry Potter and other things that come around. Well, that's witchcraft. But when you read it, if you're a person who's very deep in it, and you see the similarities between that and religion or whatever it is, we do the same things. And what's funny too is scientifically, everything that's been done, let's say in that book or other books similar to that, we have accomplished. Like a freaking remote control and a phone is like a magic wand. Like if I fucking want pizza, that fucking phone is gonna get me that pizza.
Yeah.
I can control a lot with this magic wand, and we can't be without it.
That's true.
So why is that so hard to believe? And they're like, well, it's based on witchcraft. It's not based on God, so therefore it's evil, and that's what they want to teach their kids or whatever. But why? Like, well, it's just it's so wild to me.
I'm going to talk about some stuff that I might get it wrong because I'm not like a big study on
check us on
this,
it.
but I do know that
see through shirt.
When you think about the before the mass expansion of organized religion, different cultures, of course, had their shamans, or they had their rituals and their belief systems and so on, and they also used herbs and all kinds of things to heal themselves.
Oils.
And they would meditate, or they would
use feathers or shells,
so
incense,
all of these things that their energy, their belief in energy and the potent power of the earth, right? That all came about, and then as soon as religion came on the scene, organized religion, the only way for it to stay in power was to get people to believe what they wanted.
Yeah. There's not multi-gods, there's one.
Yeah, and if people are off being able to heal themselves,
they're not going to seek out the church.
And of course, then as it starts getting darker and more ignorant, then we've got
The Spanish Inquisition.
The Spanish Inquisition, you got the Salem
Right.
witch trials, you got,
Right.
you know. And the funny thing about that is paganism and natural magic have been around since the beginning of time, the
Right.
beginning of man, beginning of humans. Wicca and some of the other things that have come along, those have come along recently within a couple centuries. That's not like something that was ancient.
Right. I
And
see,
and
yeah.
you know, people, it was more like witches were seen as devil worshippers because they weren't believing or practicing the same way as what the church demanded.
Right.
So if you're not with us, you're against us, in
Yeah,
other words.
yes.
If you're not part of this, then you must be part of Satan.
Right.
So there never really was, back in the day, there never really was a Satanism.
Yeah.
Witchcraft had nothing to do with Satan.
Right.
It had everything to do with nature. Mm-hmm. It just got lumped into that.
Right.
And Satanism was a thing that was created in the 19th century or something. It wasn't even, that's not even something that went back ancient. There was
Right.
no such thing until modern times.
Yeah.
So
Well, and somebody pointed this out to me about saying there always has to be an opposite. They go, if someone believes there is a heaven, then there must be a hell. If someone believes in God, there must be a devil. So in this case, that's kind of similar. Like, well, if there's going to be, a witchcraft, it's got to be opposite of God, so it has to be bad. Like I don't know.
but the funny thing is, though, how can a nature based belief system that is using what was created, and if you believe in God created everything, right?
Right.
So if you're using what was created and gifted to you
Yeah.
in order to heal and to
Right.
do rituals and so on,
Yeah.
then that's not against, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's definitely false logic there going on.
Yeah, because the whole term witchcraft was a term I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I'm just guessing and talking on my ass, but that was a term probably created.
Yeah.
Not, I don't know. Is that even in
They
the
never
Bible?
called themselves
I don't
that.
think they
No,
called that. That's not in the Bible, is it?
There are and I can't think of
I know. I
where
can't
it
think of.
is right
I've
now,
read it
but
somewhere.
about
Did they call them soothsayers?
soothsayers, or
Because that's like kind of fortune tellers,
yeah.
psychics. That's basically what
Basically,
they were
that's
talking
what
about.
they were talking about.
So it wasn't really witchcraft.
No, in fact, I mean, at that time there was no church that was there accusing anybody of anything, really.
Right,
And
right.
everybody was still believing in
Yeah.
the basic medicines that they had,
Right, right.
using plants and
Yeah.
natural things. It wasn't until the good old Puritan preachers and the church
Yeah.
came along that decided, oh no, that natural magic, no,
Yeah.
Now, it was okay, though, for them to put leeches on you, or it was okay for them to bleed you out to
Yeah.
cure you,
All the
and then
weird
pray over you.
Yeah.
But you better not, you better not use that
Right.
that
Well,
plant stuff. That's those herbs are
Right.
witchy things.
And we've said this before. We're not knocking any of religions, but I am knocking the fact that they're putting down Wicca or like we went to the Unity Church, not Unitarian, but Unity Church, and this just popped in my head, so I'm just going to say it.
How awful that was.
Well,
That person well, anyway, go ahead.
well, let me tell my story that I remember because it has to do with your husband.
Oh,
That in our town, in the park, they do like praise in the park or whatever, and they'd have bands come from different churches and do music. And our church, Unity, wanted to represent, you know what I'm saying?
represented
Damn it.
in
Thank
that
you.
function, yes.
And when her husband asked somebody about it, because he was in the band and one of our other band members was in it, I think at the time, and I don't know, you probably know better than I do what they said. I just remember them saying that they told him, the person running that doesn't like your minister. They don't really like count you as,
As
one
a
of
real
the churches. So they wouldn't, they said, we're not gonna really want you to come in and have your band do praise in the park. And when I heard that, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And our church got told that. Now, it didn't help. I'll be honest. It didn't help that at our little fun events we had, that they were bringing in psychics, and it didn't bother me. I thought it was great. I had a reading, and that's
a whole other story.
We can talk about that later or another episode, but whatever. But I don't care. Hey, bring it on. It's all interesting to me. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you think it's real or not real. If you have an experience and you believe it's real and it's not hurting anyone, if it's a psychic, a fortune teller, if it's not hurting you or you're not basing your life on it to where it's detrimental to you and your family, what does it hurt? Like if I read my horoscope, I don't go, oh my God, I got to live my life exactly the way it says today. No, you know, you just look at it and go, interesting. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing too. When it comes right down to it, energetically, or even just even psychologically, someone who is praying for a certain outcome or praying for help with something,
right,
is putting out the exact same energy, vibration, and belief as the person who is using certain herbs and candles and saying an affirmative statement about something they want to happen. It's the same thing from inside you.
Right.
So there is no difference. So for us to call one thing okay and another not, you know, that's where that's what irritates me, is that we can't just allow things to be what resonates with you. Instead of trying to put a stamp on everything as this is official and this is official.
Right.
But no, what you do, that's not official.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's funny because when we talk about manifesting, what you said we used to call the knowing.
The knowing when we were younger. Yeah.
If I really wanted something, I would think about it. And I'm sure, I can't think right now, but I'm sure there were times when it would happen. You know, we used to press our faces up against buildings all over the place that were for lease to get our gym. We wanted that gym so bad. And we had even some parents, gym parents, I will say, sorry, they were mostly men, but this was in the 80s and 90s, who said, oh, you know, it's really tough. You guys running a business, you know, it's going to be too hard, blah, blah. So it was like challenge accepted. Now you could say, well, yeah, you were just determined. Well, what is determination, you know, and how did all these things fall into place for that to happen? Because we were up against
we had
a lot.
Basically no savings. I mean,
we did have help. We did get a loan.
We did get a loan from someone to help us get started. But what I mean is, we were coming from a place of no capital. We had somewhat of a business plan because we had created a business plan, and we had been working for the city, doing a program for the city for a number of years. So we had the clientele.
Yeah.
So everything was in place for us to feel like it was okay to strike out on our own and open up our own business. But business-wise, financially, and being prepared, we had no business starting a business.
We had no business starting a business.
There were things that we had no clue.
We knew how to run a program.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to run a business.
We had to learn as we go, and it was reading Business for Dummies or whatever, trying to figure out how to do it, how to get this, how to put that in place, how to get this license or this certificate, or how to,
taxes, business taxes.
It was fly by the seat of our pants.
Because we didn't have anybody to show us.
No one believed
us.
enough in us except for our mother, our grandmother. You know, but nobody else really believed in us enough to even help.
But to be honest, our mom was skeptical.
She was scared to death for us.
Right, and not in a bad way. Like, she wasn't down on us and discouraging us.
She
supported us, but she was afraid, this might be the end of your relationship, which, we went through trials, and there's times we had arguments or something, but we knew we weren't going to lose the business over it. We knew that wasn't going to happen. But money-wise or family-wise or just getting it over our heads, she was afraid of that. Yeah. But we had the support.
Yeah, we did.
We had the support.
But But like you started off saying, though, it was okay, what building? And then we're looking at buildings. Well, we, from the first time we decided to move out, the first building that we decided on, we got.
Can I also add, seriously, this is where the whole knowing and what you would call manifestation, you could call magic, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. Again, I know a lot of people are like, ugh, it's all cringy, but seriously, there were landlords that I go, how did we get in there with our, maybe we had some credit history issues or bounce check issue. You know, we had our fair share of things, mistakes that we made. And every time we were in a dire situation and we came across the next landlord or the next landlord, it was like,
it was easy. It was
how did they let us in that building? And we didn't lie. It's not like we were liars,
we told the truth, and we had everything. And they, you know,
they took a chance on us girls.
Like,
and we were women.
Yeah.
And we were women. There was no man talking to them
this was
for
in
us.
1998
was our first gym. Crazy.
And it was an old doctor that owned the building.
Yeah.
And it was just a piece of cake. We just moved in.
Yeah.
And it went really well.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm not going to go through the whole story because that's for another podcast.
Another
but let's just say that, you know, it went really well. And then we had an opportunity to expand.
Right.
And we moved into a building, I don't know, that was like 4 times the size.
We got dollar signs in our eyes, and somebody who had some money and
wanted to join forces, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, that's another story. But
we
those guys also took a chance.
And again, we really had no business getting into that.
We really did fuck ourselves on
that
that.
One
though.
was a mess.
Yeah,
but and I think that building was an unbelievable situation that I just kicked myself for us not handling things better, because that would have been
we screwed the pooch on that one for sure.
That gymnastics center would have been still the star of the Inland Empire had we done things differently.
Yes.
We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, another time.
Anyway, but the point is we see it that, you know, and we called it the knowing until we learned a little more about what manifestation was, the power of the law of attraction, and all of those kinds of things. And also even just quantum, in the quantum world, just how we can align ourselves with something that we want.
Right.
And then our brain is able to, somehow our consciousness anyway, is able to navigate certain places and things, and it's almost like it knows how to lead us where we need to go to get to that goal.
Yes.
So, you know, I always say, is it manifestation or is it premonition? You know, does my brain know for some reason what's going to happen and leads me there? Yeah. Or am I manifesting it to happen?
But now you may ask, well, if you're so good at manifesting all these
things, why don't you live in a mansion on a hill right now?
Well, not only that, but why didn't you keep those gyms? But we learned this too about, because I want to say you get complacent, but it's almost like, okay, box checked. And then you stop, because once you get it, we wanted it. We got it. And then you're like, okay, we got it. Well, but you don't keep wanting and putting that into the next thing. We became negative because of a negative experience, and we spiraled. So I think of it as like, you love hard and you hate hard, or you hurt hard. So it's kind of like we were loving it, and then when things didn't go right, we fall hard. We didn't learn how to stay at an even keel at the time.
The other thing is, the old saying, be careful what you wish for, is so true.
Then you have so many balls you're trying to juggle that you're going to...
and if you're not prepared and you don't know what you're doing, you might be able to manifest something, but do you know how to keep it?
That's true.
We weren't good at knowing how to keep it healthy.
Yeah.
Because we weren't business people. So to know how to keep it healthy, that was a whole other part of the deal.
We started over so many times.
Yeah, we did. We refolded that box many times.
Yeah.
And anyway, and that's a whole other subject, because I don't because there's so much to tell about that, and we're gonna have
someday we'll have a gymnastics podcast, and we'll talk all about everything.
But what I did want to say is that in manifesting these things, it's like the feeling that there was no feeling of the possibility of failure or somebody saying no. Mm-hmm. I remember that. I remember feeling like this is just going to work because we deserve it and because we want it.
Yeah.
And there was no doubt that it was going to work.
We saw the end result because we already had the business plan, and we already were running a program. So I think for us, we didn't see it as a business. We saw it as our program is going to continue in this space.
Right.
We know how to do this, so why wouldn't it work? And so, we were always excited about it.
Yeah.
And each new building brought a new perspective, a new possibility, or it had a challenge, and it was almost like we had to get around that challenge and thought ourselves real clever because it always worked out. We always configure, which most gyms do. They have to configure around stuff, and you figure it out.
But even beyond the business aspect is just certain things, even in our own lives, manifesting things. And sometimes you manifest things that you didn't necessarily want, but you've worried or thought on them so long and so intently, and you've created such a realistic imaginary scenario that then you actually bring it to you. Right. And I have a couple of those, but I'd rather not. I don't know if I should. I don't know.
It's too hard to, because we don't want to hurt anybody in our circle.
There are too many other people involved. I'm trying to think here.
I'll be honest, mine were more on the negative side. I wanted to know certain informations, and this even was from when I was younger, like even high school age. I wanted, let's just say, some information about someone. I would constantly think about it. I would get that information, and I've always been able to do that. Now, anybody could say, well, it's because so you just went and investigated whatever. But still, I've also manifested illnesses and things where I'd say, what if I had this? What would I do if I had this illness or this thing? And so when some of them came true, I used to think, what if I had cancer? What would I do in that situation? And why would anybody think about that? But, even as a young person, and then I ended up getting cancer. That doesn't mean that's why I got it. But I'm just saying, it's just interesting that, why would you think about that? So was that me knowing I was going to, and I was thinking about it? Or did I think about it so much that my body's all, well, I guess this is what you want. Here you go. So I don't know. Like, why we do things like that.
And the thing about it, yes, somebody could say, well, that's all just coincidence. You're just you're just trying to find connections. Maybe so. But I just know that it's happened so many times.
Yeah.
I remember, well, let me think. Which one can I tell without causing myself a problem here? I do know, well, this is going to sound insane.
Coming from us, I think that's
okay. I'll just tell you this. All right.
Already.
Remember when we worked at the Y? Okay, when we were working together at the YMCA, I had my first 2 children, my oldest 2 daughters. She didn't have any yet. And we met a woman there, and this was in the 80s.
Okay.
So this was between 1986 and 88, somewhere in there. We met a woman, the parent of one of our gymnasts, had an older brother who didn't speak, and he was huge, and he didn't speak, but he was very aggressive and very hard to manage, and I had no clue what his disability was. I just knew he was disabled. And eventually she told us he had autism. Well, I had never heard of it. So
that was before Rain Man came out.
It was before the movie Rain Man, and I'd never heard of it. She'd never heard of it. We had one relative that had been brain damaged at birth, so she was developmentally delayed. At the time, they called it mental retarded, which we don't say that anymore, but she was significantly intellectually...
And we knew what Down syndrome was.
Disabled. So, but autism we'd never heard of. And as we worked with more and more people that had kids with disabilities, and we ran up against a couple other people that had children with autism, and then that movie came out, and then a little bits and pieces started coming out about what it was. We both would talk about, you know, man, because she was ready to have kids. So we talk about, wow, I don't know what I would do. I could deal with like Down syndrome, or I could deal, but I couldn't deal, because at the time they said autism was a condition where they would never love you. They didn't experience love.
Well, they call it the frigid mother syndrome.
Yeah, frigid mother syndrome. They wouldn't hug you. It was like you'd have basically an animal to take care of. They most likely would end up in an institution. I mean, that's what they thought of autism at the time. So we were like, man, of all of the disabilities, and I don't know why, but that was just like constantly on my mind. And then I had my third daughter, and she was, you know, perfectly fine, normal, typical child. And then when I was expecting my fourth child, the father really wanted a boy, and kept saying, you know, I left it with you. What'd you do to it? You better be a boy. I just remember that.
Okay.
So he really wanted a boy. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, whatever. I don't care. A boy would be kind of fun after 3 girls. But I kept, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, I hope he's okay. Because I was, how old was I? Like,
you were 34
I was
when he was born.
34
or
when he was
33.
born. So I was a little nervous that I was in my 30s. You
Well,
know?
back then it was a bigger deal. Like,
At that time, it was a big deal.
Kind of a
Past
Down
30,
syndrome kid if you're past 35.
you're after 30, supposedly,
Yeah.
you might. You know. And there was a higher incidence. They still do say that there's a higher incidence of autism and other things.
Yeah.
But still, I just kept thinking about it. And we joked, yeah, watch, it'll be a boy, but it'll be a boy with a disability. Then what'll he say?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I was, at the time I was angry at him for some things. And so Wendy and I were having this conversation.
Yeah.
So then...
Or what if there was a boy that wanted to be a ballet dancer?
Yeah.
Because he was a manly man, and we're like, what if it was a boy that, you know, didn't like football? And we kind of,
we were joking a lot about that. But still, in the back of my mind, I was like, just terrified.
Yeah.
Because it was like my fourth child, and the odds of, you know, having 3 perfect children, and then, you know, the what ifs on the fourth one.
I was the what if fourth one.
She was the what if fourth one. So was Mike.
ADHD.
Yeah. Anyway, so then obviously the end of that story is that at 2 years old he was diagnosed with severe autism. So you know, in the back of my mind, I've always wondered, okay, did I kind of know this was happening? I definitely wouldn't have manifested that because I don't believe you can manifest somebody else's life in that way. I don't. You know. Did I know? Did my and this could get into some really heavy stuff because I believe that our true consciousness energy self knows all things, all time, all space, past, present, future. So it would know, which means I would subconsciously already know that's coming. Right. Well, I don't know.
I've had experiences, and, you know, everybody likes to think they're the center of their own universe, or that you're as a kid, I got powers or whatever. You know, we didn't have Harry Potter then, but we had Wonder Woman and Shazam, Bewitched, and I Dream a Genie, and, you know, we all wanted to be able to escape that and all that. Right. So I know back in the day, you know, you had the incandescent light bulbs, you know, the old-fashioned, terrible for the environment light bulbs. Mm. And, you know, they didn't just fade out. Those things usually would, like, blow out. And they like to blow out sometimes when you turn the light switch on. It scared the shit out of you. And I'm telling you, throughout my life, my childhood through adult, especially those that can burst light bulbs, has happened to me more times in my life. To that. And it always came when I remember angry. When not even angry though, I think just anxious because my mind tensed up. I get so, because of the ADHD, I don't know that then, I know now, so deep in thought. Well, now people know because I'm at work and then someone's just walking around the corner. I go, God, and they're like, we're here. So, but you understand, I'm thinking about whatever in my mind, not even work related, autopilot, and I get scared shitless so many times a day of people walking around the corner. But anyway, it always seemed to be times when I was intense. So those things happen. But I will tell the automatic writing story because this is so good to me. This sums up of my beliefs that your energy can be felt by other people. So we're at our Unity Church. They're having a little fair festival thing. And they got this lady. And she was a cool old lady. She was in the civil rights era. She told us stories about being protesting civil rights and hiding people of color in her cars so that they didn't get hosed down. I mean, she had this crazy life. And so she was an automatic writer, and I think I won it like in a contest or something. You win an automatic writing. Okay. I'm like, sure, whatever, Like I'm not saying I didn't believe it, but I was not like into it. And I go, okay, I've never had any kind of psychic reading or anything. Sure. So we get in this room and she's sitting there and she goes, okay, I'm just going to ask you questions as they come to me or whatever. And I just remember her doing whatever. And then at some point, and I didn't think I'm me, I'm like, animated. But I feel like in those moments, during an interview, I may have a few jokes or I try to break the ice, but I know how to be quiet. And sit there and listen. She literally says to me, this lady, I'm sorry, could you please go sit across the room? And I go, okay. She goes, the energy that's coming off of you, it's like clouding my brain. I can't write anything because it's too much. And I'm like, I'm so too much for people. I don't even when I'm just sitting there, like my brain is too much for you. So yeah, like, I still have those papers somewhere that she wrote because I just, she passed on. I don't know when, but she was so cool. And I do believe in that. I believe that there's a connection, and you can call it psychic, you can call it through God, and again, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because I know there's people that I know that are friends of mine that are very religious and would feel like no, anything that says witchcraft is bad, or anything that says Wicca is bad, or anything that's not God related is bad, paganism, all that. But and it's hard to convince them that it's not, because like you said, they've been so like ingrained. And manifesting without God to them is not biblical, so it's not good, it's not positive.
And yet, see, I mean, the way I look at it, and I think the way you do too, is that I believe that anything I am able to do is a gift. Anything I'm able to do is
creative wise, like your art. That's a gift, and it doesn't matter where it came from. That's a gift that you have.
I mean, if we're created by some omnipotent being, then wouldn't everything we have the ability to do be part of what that omnipotent
because to me, that's not a free will issue. Being a creative artist or a singer or a musician, or a Stephen Hawking or a Michael Jordan or a Simone Biles, how is that person has more talent than somebody else? And some people have no talent. Some people don't ever get to experience stuff because, well, I'm not saying they don't have any talent. They don't know, they haven't, whatever. It's not in their wheelhouse that's a possibility. So they live their lives very humbly because they don't think they're going to go and do that. So why?
But
why?
Because and if we believe that for those who
why don't those people get
created,
God-given gifts?
Right.
Why?
And that's what I'm wondering.
Why, Cheryl?
For those people who believe that we were created
interrupt us.
by a being, then wouldn't everything that being is putting into us be part of what our life's plan is? I mean, it's kind of like telling a great athlete who was just built to run, okay, I've made you a great athlete, you're built to run, and we know that you're a great runner, but it's going to be against your religion to run. what's the purpose?
Like they're dangling it
Yeah,
in
it's
front
like,
of you. Yeah.
that would be no purpose, because I
Excuse
feel
me.
like you're gifted with something because you're supposed to go do something with your life.
Right.
And because all of our lives are entangled, and we, like the butterfly effect, in order to have exponential growth of different kinds of ideas and different talents or whatever, you've got to have a multitude of people who are capable of those things,
Right.
that interact and make all this stuff happen.
Well,
You can't expand without those gifts.
well, and that's just like, I don't know, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but I like that analogy where they say, you're, like when you are in a car and there's headlights, you can only see so much in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You can think about your destination, but you can only see what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how we live our lives.
Yeah.
It's like, I do see the bigger picture of what I want, but I can only do so much with what's, I can't make time speed up. I can
Right.
only work with what I have now. And that's me living in the now, and, and all that. Manifesting is hard when you're trying to live in the now because you want it so bad.
Right.
And you have the goal. Like I have a whole book over here with little goals and things. And, you can look at it as, oh, I didn't get to all my goals, but did you get to 2 or 3?
Yeah.
And celebrate those wins, but and again, that's that manifesting. Well, you could look at it both ways. Are you attracting the wins to you? Are you just picking the easy ones so that you feel better? How much is you controlling it, and how much is it? It gets really complicated and confusing. But I will tell you this.
And
go
if
ahead.
if we overthink it, then we're getting in our own way too.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, look, I've made jokes about this before. If somebody sneezes, and I always make a joke like, yeah, I don't bless bodily functions. I don't bless a fart. I'm not gonna bless a sneeze.
Right.
TM. That's mine. But if someone says I'm going to pray for you, I go, thank you. I don't. We've talked about this before. Like,
Yeah.
if I do believe that if a group of 10 people stand around someone in their sick bed holding hands, and they're genuine Christians that really believe, I'm not just talking about I go to Wednesday and Sunday and then I go and act like an asshole the rest of the week and say I'm forgiven. That's not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who walk the talk, and I know there's a handful of people that I know. Yeah.
You
So,
can feel it.
and if that person that's sick believes in it as well, then yeah. But I also that they could be healed or whatever. But I also believe that anybody who stands around that has a positive energy drawing from whatever source, whether it's their own mind or whatever they picture as their energy source, and that person believes it, like we would have people at Unity that are that way.
Right.
I believe they can also be healed. So for someone to say, well, no, it only works with you believe in God and our God or whatever, I'm like, how can that be? No. What if a bunch of atheists stand around and with the power of positive thinking, someone's healed? Then what was that all about? How do you answer that and say, well, they probably would still say it's God, I guess.
Well,
but,
they would.
Yeah, and that's fine. But then there's also the people that if somebody doesn't make it, well, it was God's will. And then if someone survives, it was God's will.
That's why I think.
But they word it differently.
Yeah.
They word it differently.
I think, like you were saying earlier off camera, that if the person being healed wants to be healed, and if the person being healed
we've had that discussion.
believes that they can be, that is a part of it too.
Right.
And to me, that's all that fits in how we individually are able to use the power or energy of our consciousness and our brain to heal our own bodies and do fantastic things. And it doesn't mean everybody can. I mean, everybody has the capacity to do it.
Exactly.
But they don't necessarily, because if you're in a situation where you're barely hanging on, you're barely surviving, whether it's a physical ailment, a mental ailment, or just life has thrown too much at you, you can't necessarily muster up that energy because
You might
it's
not
hard
have,
to
yeah.
believe it.
It's
So,
like the will to live. You might not have the
you might
will
not
to
have
live.
that will, and that there's nothing there. That's not a negative thing. There's
No.
nothing wrong with that. If a person is at a point where they don't have that will left, some people who've gone through devastating things, they're like, you know what, I'm just going to live in a tent and be homeless the rest of
Right.
my life because I can't face the real world
Right.
anymore. Could they have manifested a better situation? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
But I think we all have the capacity to do so. It's just that inner feeling and willpower to do
Yeah.
it. It's like I can't sit here and say, gee, I want to be a millionaire. It's not that I don't have the willpower and want to do it. It's that I don't necessarily believe in it enough. I don't
Yeah.
see myself in that. So, I'm not going to be able to magically make
I
that
could
happen.
see myself easily being a
I could
millionaire.
imagine
I
it,
could see it. However,
but
I have another thing I don't want to forget about, but
Okay.
I'll finish this thought what you just said. Be careful what you wish for, because we do talk about that. I could see myself being a millionaire, and I don't want it. To be honest, I don't want. I think we talked about this before. I repeat myself constantly, but I don't want to be famous as much as I'd rather have that money. I'd rather have that famous money because I want to be able to go to the grocery store or wherever the fuck I want and not have to worry about that, But I was going to say, when you're talking about people wanting to be healed or not wanting to be healed, I just like, I can't draw like she can draw. She's so humble or modest or whatever, and she would say, oh, anybody can. No, I don't believe that, because there's people, I know there's people who sing better than me, and I could take all the singing classes in the world. I'm not going to be at that level. I'm not going to be at the level of an opera singer. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
and that's a lot of that's physical. It's your throat or whatever. There's so much of that involved. But with art, someone draws a picture and it fucking looks like a real picture or whatever it is, and I could take 1,000 art classes, and I don't know if I could. Maybe I could.
you could.
But she was a natural as a kid. I guess that's my point. You did it as a kid. She already was making something. My son, natural. As a kid, he was good, and he didn't have any formal art training. I doodled, but I didn't. It was not the same. I guess that's what I'm saying. Everybody has their
thing, yeah.
So when it comes to manifesting, I feel like it's the same thing where, and I think this has also been mentioned. I followed a lady named Jeanette Ma, and I'm just always so wow, she's pretty positive, and just the stories she tells and the things that have come into her life, and you're like, damn, man, she's got it. She's doing it, and it could be anybody. I just happened to her come to mind, and I thought, why can't I do that? But it's a skill like anything else, and I have to be okay with I may not be able to do that. It's hard to explain. She can keep it up and she can do all this stuff. Now, maybe if I stop doing everything in my life, no more doing the band. I can't watch my granddaughter. It's just I'm going to work my job, and I'm going to come home, and I'm going to work on all of this manifesting stuff, and I'm going to devote. Then maybe, yeah. See what I mean, though? But,
Yeah.
but
Spending full concentration.
we
on
have
it,
to
yeah.
make our choices. That can't be in my life, unless I want to sacrifice something. And right now, I'm not willing to sacrifice. I enjoy what I'm doing in my life.
Right.
So I guess that's what I mean. Just because I want to manifest, and so when they go, anybody can do it, I want to go, no, not anybody. Not everybody can manifest. And they'll say, oh, it's opportunities. It's they got a handout or whatever. And it's no, not everybody can, because it's a skill acquired, and you can call it magic. You can call it
I know what you're saying.
willpower. I may never
I think I think everybody does to a certain
No,
extent.
they have the potential.
But I think everybody though actually does, but they don't recognize it when they do it. I don't think we're not conditioned to see it.
Yeah,
and
but I feel
even
like it's a skill. I think it's a skill. you
Well,
have
to do it
acquire.
intentionally, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that there are times, for example, I've for many years of my life, any job that I wanted, that I went for, I got it just easily.
Yeah.
I would just get the job. And so I got to the point where I never I never expected not to get the job, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And it wasn't like, I just, it was the knowing. It was just
Yeah.
like, I knew I was going to get it.
You pictured it happening.
And there was no doubt. I just knew I was
Yeah.
going to get it, right? And that happened and happened and happened and happened over and over and over until I got to, in my 40s, I started working with employment, a company for employing people with disabilities. And when I started working there, someone helped me get into that company. Now, I probably could have gotten a job myself in that company because they were always hiring. They always needed help. But that one, I did have somebody that put in a good word for me, let's say. After that, there were other jobs that I applied for a couple years down the road that I didn't even get a call back. It was like nothing. I'm like, what is going on, right? But then I finally did. I saw one pop up because I knew some things were happening at the current job that I didn't like, and I didn't like the new CEO we were going to end up with and stuff like that. So I wanted out. So I was desperately trying to find a job, and then one popped up that sounded exactly fit for me. I mean, it was perfect for me, but it was out in the desert. So anyway, I got that job, and so then I continued and I manifested. I kept thinking of the kind of job I wanted after that one, because that one was, my position was going to be cut. I could see the writing on the wall.
Yep.
They loved me, but my position was going to be cut. So then I started again manifesting, okay, what do I want to do? I wanted a job that was just a few minutes up the road from my house, where I had creative freedom and I was in a supervisory position. And that's basically what I thought, right? And I ended up getting my last job, which was the director of a senior center. So it was like easy. And my husband keeps saying, if I watch you do this, I watch you say this is going to happen, and it happens. He says, I see you do this all the time. It's real. He said, where's the money? Why can't you make
Show me the money, bitch.
I don't know why.
I know.
I don't know why.
Well, and we were talking about getting old and ailments or something on one of our episodes, and I said, where's that willpower I had as an athlete? I've got mad willpower for recovering. I hurt my back. I've hurt my knee. I broke my toe.
She recovered so well on her own from all of those things.
Right. But I cannot lose weight to save my life. Now, we talked earlier about, I'm on medications or whatever, but as a fitness person, it's like, you don't want to believe it. I want to prove to everybody that I can do it with diet and exercise so that I can prove it's true. And every year the clock's ticking, and I can't do it. It's the hardest thing ever. I'm a binge eater. I do exercise. I can do a 1 hour cardio video, but I like to eat so much. And I'm not even hungry. I'm really not hungry. So, I may go and talk to my doctor about getting one of the shots. As somebody calls it, the fat shot. They get the fat shot. The fat shot. We won't talk about him today. But anyway, I might, because... And could someone say... I don't... It's a fat shot. He's so awful. And that was somebody he knows and works with. What a jerk. But then if I do it, it's like, is it a shortcut? I hate when people do that shit. Or like the surgery. The surgery. I was one of those people. That back in the 90s when people were starting to get the surgery, the sleeve, the gastric bypass and all that. Easy way. I was one of those terrible people. And then when I realized, what? I'm always riding the line of high triglycerides to diabetesville, so I could get it in an instant. So if this was and again, she's so humble and such a good sister and a BFF. She has that willpower and has lost the weight and is doing well. And it used to be so easy. And again, whether it's the medications I'm on or whatever, it doesn't matter. And people go, like people who are way bigger than me go, oh, you're fine, you're skinny, whatever. But then I look at people who are smaller than me, and it's like, I know what my potential is. I don't have to be saddled with this. Pun intended. Saddle me up. I'm as big as a horse now. No, but I'm saying, like, I can be happy with what I want, but I want to manifest it. Yeah.
You want to manifest
I
it.
have, though. I can tell you, I have book after book after book where I wrote my affirmations. I'd say them. I am healthy, I am fit, I am strong. I am healthy, and that goes back to the whole, is it magic? Is it witchcraft? Am I making a spell? Am I doing a prayer? Whatever you want to call it. I am healthy, I'm fit. I don't go, I want to lose weight. I say, I'm healthy, fit, and strong. I am 100 and whatever pounds. I don't like to say a number because everybody's got a different number. I'm 100 and blah pounds of lean muscle and whatever. And I'll say those affirmations. I did that. Now, if I have a goal like my daughter's wedding, I worked my ass off. It was this time last year. It took me 4 months to lose 15 pounds. And I worked my ass off cutting fast food, sweets, and booze. And I did do it. Now I could say, oh, I manifested it. Well, why can't you keep it off? Because it was impossible to maintain. It was so impossible for me to be on the diet I was on, not even a diet. I was just cutting stuff out. And I don't want to say impossible. I couldn't deal with it. And when stress hits, I'm a stress eater,
That we've already, we know there's proof that our consciousness is very powerful. PTSD, post-traumatic stress
Oh, I know what it's
disorder, that alone proves the power of consciousness and the mind. Because we can also, the mind is, the plasticity of our mind. It can be either molded in a way that's debilitating to us, or it can be molded in a way that is improving our life.
Right.
So if we're able to change the way our brain fires, or
exactly.
the synapses and the pathways
scientifically,
then to me it's not too much of a step further to say that we can consciously change things in our lives,
right?
And that the power of prayer, the power of suggestion, that whatever you want to call it, or doing rituals, burning certain candles,
Yeah.
And I feel like it can protect you too. I don't know if I told the story before about doing the binding spell.
Well, I told mine about when the person when I opened the jar and then they
hurt themselves and you thought that you caused it.
I did.
Well, here's a story. One of my daughters, she had a difficult time in high school, especially her senior year. But she just had a difficult time. She wasn't cut out for the high school scene, and it was really hard for her. And we were going through so many difficult family things, and it just was just a bad couple of years for her. But in that time, there were people, other friends and acquaintances in her life, not friends, they were acquaintances, enemies, let's just say, in her life, that were just causing so much emotional pain to her, just picking on her, things that were happening. They would do things like they egged her car in front of our house. They just, relentless. And here, she had already left school, but they knew where she lived, so they would drive by and yell things at her or whatever. So it was just constant. She couldn't get away from it, and it was awful. And so I made the suggestion that we do like a protection, which would be what we called a binding spell, but it's basically a protection for the person. And it protects them, and it protects the other person. You're binding them from harming themselves or anyone else. So basically you're creating a bubble that keeps each party from harming the other. So
right.
So we went through this whole ritual, my daughter and I, and we did this thing, and it had been probably about 2 weeks since they egged her car, and then we did this. Within, I would say, a few days to a week, so it wasn't longer than a week later. It was just within a few days. Somebody knocks at the door, and she looks out the window and sees the car of one of the kids, or
Right.
or sees the group of kids, or some, I don't remember. Somehow she knew who was at the door, and she says, "Don't answer it, don't answer it, don't answer it." No, I said, I'm going to answer it. Let's see what they have to say, because she told me it's them, it's them, it's them. So open the door, and here's this young man standing there, and he asked if she was there, and she's like, he couldn't see her, and she's shaking her head like, "No, I'm not here." And he said, I have something I want to tell her. Seriously, he was like, it's just, I just really need to talk to her. So I made her come over to the door, and he basically said, "I'm really sorry about everything that's been going on. We are not going to bother you again.
Wow.
We're sorry, and let's just be done with this and call a truce."
Right.
And she's like, "Okay." And he and the friends walked away. She never heard from any of them again. So was it just,
Who's to say?
I don't know. Did it work? Did it, and I'm not, I'm not fully convinced of magical, miracles,
Yeah.
but I also am not going to say
That it's not true.
that it's not true, because I've seen it, and this is one example of it happening. So
I just forgot about this till you just told me the story. But we had our business, and across the way was a tenant that was awful and would always tattletale us to the complex owner, blah, 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 whatever. He was a real dick. So she had already retired from the business, said, "Hey, I'm out, whatever." I said, "Okay." So I don't know. I think it was just at the time we were going through the whole secret and all of that. And so forgiveness was one of my hardest things to do. But I also don't know we were all talking about the binding spell and stuff. So whatever it was going around, that had nothing to do with the secret, obviously, but maybe I heard it from that story, or I don't know. So I decided I printed a picture off of his website of him, because I knew you either have to have something they've touched, or so it was a picture of him. And I folded it up, put tape all around it till it was all sealed up. It folded, so it looked like a piece of little origami. And remember when those two students, the two brothers, gave us those blue lockers?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, they had their little names on
Yeah.
them. So we got these little blue kids lockers to go with our eclectic white trash that we always like to accumulate for everything. No. So those were our little staff. So I took it, and I put the little thing I had made in one of those in my locker down at the bottom, just stuffed it down and left it. And didn't think anything of it. Until we moved, we got rid of the locker, till probably we moved the business, I don't know, or we got rid of the lockers or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that was a time between you and I, and so it was only like 3 or 4 years until I was out too. So no lie, that guy went from being a hole to all of us. And even though she left, and then I think Kristen had left, I wasn't extra nice to him. I didn't do anything. I don't even know how it happened, but somehow they asked me to come over to their shop. I just remember being in their shop, and she was talking about, "Hey, we're moving." And she was the wife was showing me where their house was in Kentucky on the computer, or somewhere like that, and showing me where they're
being all friendly,
it was so bizarre. And then she was like, "You threw me under the bus to them and made yourself look all nice." And then when we moved, and I found that, and I remembered, and I went, "Oh my gosh!" So again, did it change me? Because I also did it to a family member who was causing me problems, and I was at my wit's end. And the same thing, that family member and I started getting along better. You could call it whatever you want. You can call it me thinking about it and linking the mind with them, and it's science. You can call it Wiccan witchcraft. You can call it divine intervention, that even though I don't believe in it, that God saw fit to help me out with that anyway, even though I'm not a believer. You can
Maybe
also...
it's just mindfulness in a mental
that I'm different,
state.
so they're different, that I don't know. Like a placebo. I believe this is going to work. And then all of a sudden, like, man, that girl's got some confidence. She seems like a really nice person. Maybe I should talk to her. And then we amended things.
Yeah.
And, so it doesn't
and
matter.
it doesn't matter what you believe about it.
Right.
It's just if you have the intense belief and energy
Yeah.
that you're and if it's coming from a place of love and it's coming from a place of wanting there to be the highest best good,
Right.
then I believe no matter how it happens that
Yeah.
it can happen.
And I understand that some people it's ingrained in your brain. I can picture the faces right now of the people who would say no, no, no. Because we've had people like that before. I'm like, what's the big deal about Harry Potter? Because it's witchcraft. I'm like, dude, read it before
Yeah.
you make that judgment. It's not going to turn you into a witch. These kids are playing games just like we used to play cops and robbers. Did playing gangster and cops or cops and robbers turn kids into robbers by playing that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or cowboys and Indians. Didn't turn anybody into either one because it was cowboys and Indians. I know that's terrible, but that's what in the 70s, that's what we played. I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying it's true. I wanted to be Wonder Woman, and my friend would throw rocks at me while I had my silver, like old 70s turquoise silver bracelets on, and I'd go like that while she
know
threw
about
rocks at
that.
me. Yeah,
That's
out in the
hilarious.
back ditch, man.
Oh my
I'm
God,
Wonder
that's
Woman. Throw rocks
hilarious.
at me, and I'm going to try to fend them off.
Jeez.
It's not like she hurled them at me,
No,
but still,
that's funny.
I didn't turn into
didn't
Wonder
turn
Woman or a
into that.
superhero by believing in that. So that the occult and Wicca are not the same thing.
No.
Don't blend those in together.
And Satanism is not witchcraft.
Yeah.
And it's not Harry Potter. And
Yeah.
it's not, it's
Satan-
not even a real thing,
Well,
actually.
I-
I mean, it is
according-
because there are people who believe
Yeah,
that they
I
are.
don't, but that's just my
but-
opinion.
But
I wanted to, I don't know if this is appropriate to interject right now, but I was going to say it earlier and I forgot until just now. But I had a family member when I had been diagnosed with cancer and The Secret had come out, and there was a story about this lady who had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and so the family was making sure I laughed all the time, and was that was her story that she was watching positive movies and everything was positive, and then she beat the cancer, and this relative said, well, because this relative's in the medical community, let's just say that you can't beat cancer with feeling good or laughing. And I thought, wait a minute. And what I said to this person was, I go, well, why then can your mind stress you out to give you an ulcer? Mm-hmm. If your mind can give you an ulcer, that's a physical manifestation of your
absolutely.
anxiety. Mm-hmm. Anxiety is caused by your mind being anxious, not by your body being anxious. You're like, oh, I guess the body's anxious. Now I got to go along with it. So if your mind can make you anxious, then why can't your mind make you heal? So is that magic? Is that just positive thoughts? Where does that all come from?
Yeah.
Science, religion, manifesting. I mean, it's all, like you said, it all comes to the same thing. But is that a magic power? You can call it whatever you want. Mm-hmm. So there you have it.
There you have it. Those two are witches.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. If you ever watch
say it best.
Escape to Witch Mountain in the first, I know when I watch it they didn't say it
love that
exactly like that, but that's what we got from it because the sheriff says, I think he just says, they're witches, or those kids are witches, or those. So we just laughed because it turned into, those two are witches. It's that sheriff. It's hilarious.
And we know we are.
Well, I'm a witch with the B to a lot of people, but whatever.
Doesn't matter.
That's okay.
So, if you, if no matter how you believe,
Yes.
you might not believe in anything. You might think we're just a blob of flesh, a meat suit
Me too.
that is like run by electricity, and that when that electricity goes out, the meat suit rots, and that's it. There's nothing else. You could be right, but some of us kind of like to think that there's more to us than that.
Yeah, that we have a little bit more say and control in what we
Yeah.
do in our lives.
Or even if not, that there is more to just being here for the up to 100 years or so that we're here.
Right.
there's
we're
more
not.
point to it.
It's not like
And
the
maybe
Matrix.
Yeah, maybe that's wishful thinking. I don't care. I like living my life
Yes,
um,
positively and
with the idea that there's more to it, and it makes it more exciting because you're constantly thinking about it, talking about it, investigating it,
Right.
searching. It just, to me, makes life a lot more fun.
definitely.
So I will continue with my
As will I.
witchiness.
Witchiness. No, just in a nutshell, just that I live the life I live, and I make no apologies. I don't need to answer anybody.
No.
And I hope that people can maybe meet in the middle. And if you can't, I'm sorry. And I don't want to, again, we don't mean to ever offend anybody. We're not trying to put other people down. We just don't want you to put those groups down and,
Right.
and not lump them in with something that has nothing to do with evilness.
Yes, absolutely. All right.
Have a good week, everybody.
All of you have a wonderful week, and let your heart be light
Yes.
and your mind be calm for the rest of this month as we sort it out.
I only calm when I'm sleeping.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.